The meeting will be the first time the two leaders have met since Mrs Merkel finally agreed a coalition deal to form a government, ending months of uncertainty about the future direction of the EU powerhouse. However, the German Chancellor was forced to make major concessions to coalition partners the Social Democrats SPD, which has undoubtedly weakened her leadership, and her coalition partner Martin Schulz's decision to step down as SPD leader has done little to help Mrs Merkel's cause. Britain is seizing the opportunity to speak to the leader of the EU's economic powerhouse following months of power struggles in Berlin as the PM plots to break the Brexit deadlock and appeal directly to EU member states. Mrs May will meet Mrs Merkel at the Chancellery in the German capital before she delivers a major security speech in Munich on Saturday. The Prime Minister will be hoping to use Mrs Merkel's weakened position and growing EU divisions about the bloc's Brexit stance to demand better terms for the Brexit transition deal. Getty Shutterstock Brexit transition arrangements are likely to be high on the agenda when the pair meet on Friday. Mrs May is expected to make an ambitious offer over Britain's continued support for European security after Brexit. The EU's chief Brexit negotiator, Michel Barnier, said last week a post-Brexit transition deal was not a given and there remain substantial disagreements between negotiators on some of the major issues surrounding Brexit. He added Britain must accept all EU rules and obligations until the end of the transition in order to secure an agreement. Warning: time is short and we haven't a moment to lose if we want to succeed. Meanwhile, UK Chancellor Philip Hammond is preparing his own Brexit charm offensive as he travels across Europe to speak directly with leaders of some of Britain's closest allies. Mr Hammond's first stop is Norway, and despite not being an EU member, Oslo maintains close ties to the bloc, which could provide a blueprint for a future British deal. Get his pair pictured together at the G20 summit in July last year. He will also visit EU members Sweden, the Netherlands, Spain and Portugal as part of the tour. The Brexit charm offensive doesn't stop there either. Boris Johnson is due to make a major speech to lay out his own view on the next stage of the process tomorrow. And Brexit Secretary David Davis and International Trade Secretary Liam Fox will also give speeches on the subject in the coming days before the Prime Minister makes a major speech to reveal the kind of overall relationship the UK wants with the EU post-Brexit. Mrs May is hoping to clinch a deal next month for a transition period that would smooth Britain's exit from the EU in 2019. She and several of her ministers are hoping to spell out Britain's case for a good Brexit deal in a series of speeches in the coming weeks. Mr Hammond said, "I am taking the message to Europe that, while we are leaving the EU, Britain still cares about its relationships with the countries, citizens and businesses with whom we share a close history and common values. We look forward to agreeing a new, deep and special partnership with the EU that keeps our relationship growing strongly in the future." A government source told The Telegraph, "We want member states to have more of a say. It's to the benefit that the trading relationship with the EU exists. The people in the Commission have more of a religious view of Europe. The preservation of the project is the most important thing for them, even if it damages the European Union. France is the most negative of the member states. They are taking a very hard line. They see it as an opportunity to take business from US, but it's not going to work." Friday, December 8, 2017. Here is the 15-page Brexit deal in full. Berlin insists the new German government will not change its policy regarding Britain's looming departure from the EU. Peter Tarsek, Germany's Brexit coordinator, wrote in English on Twitter, "Somebody asked me today, will a new German government change its Brexit policy? Nothing hints to such a policy shift. Expect us to follow our long-standing interest in the integrity of the single market and cohesion of the EU, but the resignation of SPD chief Mr Schulzs following months of negotiations is a fresh blow to the German government.